Hello, and welcome to Time Between Times Storytelling with me, Owen Staton. Thank you, all of you who have discovered the new audio podcast, and thank you for the kind words about it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And if you haven't discovered it, please look for where you find your podcasts for Time Between Times Storytelling with Owen Staton. There are a few episodes up there now for you to enjoy. But those of you who are here watching the video, please sit back and enjoy this tale. For this is an unusual tale. And for those of you who've enjoyed my previous story involving this character, Gwion and the Witch, that video is there towards the start of this series of videos. So please have a look at that. For today's story features our old friend, Nellie Pugh. So, without further ado, sit back, clear your mind of all your worries, your troubles, your cares. Clear your mind of everything that's making this modern world quite difficult. And sit back and relax. And let me tell you a tale in a traditional way. Welcome to the time between times. The time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. The time between times. The time that people tell stories. The time that lights appear in the sky. The time that out of the corner of your eye, a ghost will suddenly move. That is the time that people gather around the fireplace. The time when the veil between our world and the fairy world grows wafer thin. So thin that for just a few moments, we can reach into that realm. And for a few moments, they can reach into ours. So although in the distance we can hear the howl of wolves, far away we can hear the growl of bears, we know we are safe together here in the time between times. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's tale. It's called The Valley of the Witch. Now, many years ago when the world was young, there lived a young girl called Siwan. Siwan lived with her family on a farm deep in the heart of Wales, where the valleys grew round and the trees were thick. It was there that she woke every day on the farm, did all her duties, but knew her life meant more. So one day when she was old enough, she turned to her mother, she turned to her father, and she said, I am going out in search of work. I am going to travel throughout all the valleys, all the beaches, all the woods, until I find a job that's fit for me. And I will bring back all the riches and all the treasures that I find to give you a better life. So she packed a bag and she left. She walked for many days, she walked for many weeks, until one day something strange happened. It was the time between times. The time when it was neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. And Siwan walked into a valley where everything seemed strange. As she walked along the rickety paths, she heard animals speaking in the tongues of men. As she walked along the beds of streams, she heard fish singing in old Cymraeg. And even the trees and the rocks seemed to speak, although she could never grasp what they were saying. But then, as she was walking through a field, she saw out of the corner of an eye an old clay oven, closed upon the ground and covered in moss. As she walked past the oven, she heard a voice inside it cry, help me, please. Using all her strength, she lifted up the oven and opened the door. And there inside was an old burned loaf of bread. Siwan picked up the loaf, and incredibly, it spoke to her. I have been in here for 7 years. A witch baked me and then left me in here in the dark. Thank you for freeing me. I will help you in any way that I can. Although she was hungry, Siwan put the loaf on the ground, bade it farewell, and carried on walking. She walked through a forest until she came to to an old meadow filled with flowers, all of them singing and swaying. And there in the middle of the meadow, there was a cow with huge swollen udders. The cow seemed in distress, and as Siwan approached it turned to her and said, help me, please." "What's happened?" said Siwan. 7 years ago, an old witch took away my calves, and now I have no one to milk me. I am so uncomfortable. Please help me." Having grown up on a farm, Siwan milked the cow until again all discomfort was gone. "Thank you. If I may do anything for you, just let me know." Siwan carried on walking until she came to a thick old forest full of old and ancient trees, oaks and ash. And there she heard a tree crying in distress. "Help me, said the tree. Siwan looked up, and its branches were filled with huge apples, weighing them down and causing them to bend. 7 years ago, an old witch stopped everyone from coming near and picking my fruit. But now my branches grow heavy. Now the fruit grows big. Please help me." Siwan picked the fruit one by one until the branches grew straight and true and light again. Thank you ever so much. If I can help you in any way, please let me know." Siwan carried on walking until deep in the forest she came to an old cottage. Its roof was thatched. It was made of clay, and its door barely hung on its hinges. Siwan knocked the door, and it was opened by Nellie Pugh the witch. She had a bent back, a hooked nose, and her hands were like claws, all bent and gnarly. "Hello." "I am looking for work so I can feed my family," said Siwan. "Well, you can work for me. Every day I go out to cast spells, to give curses, to travel the valleys. Make sure my house is clean. Make sure my food is cooked. Make sure my bed is made. Make sure my animals are fed. And I will pay you handsomely. But I tell you one thing, and one thing only. Do not look inside the chimney, for you will regret it as soon as you do. If you look inside that chimney, the curse of the witch will be upon you." And Siwan started to work for Nellie Pugh, day after day, week after week, month after month. She cleaned, she cooked. She made sure her garden was brisk and beautiful. But one day, when Nellie Pugh was out of the house, and Siwan was tired, for the pay was poor and the work was hard, her curiosity got the better of her, and she looked up inside the chimney. And there, just within reach of a lengthy arm, was a huge bag full of gold coins. Siwan reached up and pulled out the bag. There was enough to feed her family. There was enough to feed the whole village. There was enough to feed hundreds of people and feed them well. And Siwan had seen how cruel Nellie could be. She had seen the people she had harmed. So she placed the bag in her coat, left the door, and started to run. She ran through the forest, she ran through the streams, she ran until she came to the meadow, and then far in the distance she heard the cackling of the witch. "No! Someone has taken my treasure! Someone has taken all that I own! I will come for you!" Siwan ran and ran and ran until she came to the forest, and she came to the old oak. "What's going on?" said the oak. The witch is chasing me," said Siwan. "Climb into my boughs. Climb up until my branches, and I will keep you safe." And Siwan did this. She climbed up the old oak and hid in the highest branches. The witch came to the oak. "Have you seen a slip of a girl walking this way?" "No, I haven't," said the oak. The witch went the wrong way. Siwan climbed down, thanked the oak, and went on her way. She carried on running and running and running until she came to the meadow, and there was the cow, merrily chewing grass and cud. Hide me, please, hide me, Nellie Pugh, the witch is chasing me. Hide there, amongst the flowers in the meadow, said the cow. Siwan did that, and again the witch came. Have you seen a slip of a girl? I have not, said the cow, and again the witch went the wrong way. Siwan ran and ran and ran until she came to the field, and there was the old clay oven, and there was the loaf of bread, and Siwan had told the loaf what was happening. Hide down there, said the loaf, and Siwan did, hiding amongst the bushes in the far end of the field, until Nellie Pugh the witch came running and running and running again. And then Nellie said to the loaf, where is the young girl Siwan, who has escaped my work? I know where she is, said the loaf. She's in the oven. Reach inside, right at the back. She is hiding there. Ha, said Nellie Pugh. I have you now. I have caught you. She reached into the oven, pulled herself inside, and the loaf rolled round and closed the door behind her, trapping the witch within the oven. He called Siwan to him, and together they buried the oven under the earth. And that was the end of Nellie Pugh the witch. Siwan returned to her family, to her village, to her people, and made them all wealthy. And where this story occurred became known as Cwm Grach, the Valley of the Witch. Not far from where I am sitting right now, there is still a sign of the witch as you enter the village. A huge metal sign, the witch riding her broomstick. Cwm Grach. Nellie Pugh the witch. It is still said that deep underground you can hear her cries. She can hear her cries of vengeance, but they have not come yet. And that, my friends, is the tale of the Valley of the Witch. Diolch yn fawr am gwrando. Thank you very much for joining me here at the Time Between Times once more. And thank you to all of you that have left kind messages for me, especially when I was away for a couple of months. Thank you for your support. Please check out the podcast. Please enjoy. Take care. And join me again at the Time Between Times. Diolch yn fawr.